Hello everybody and welcome to Nearly Not Quite Gaming. I'm Rob, as you already probably know if you watched anything else on this channel. Why are you even here if you don't know who I am? What are you doing? Who are you? Why are you here? This is CipherTH. I advertise him a lot on streams and he advertises me on his stream sometimes. By that I mean he's got me in some text box but doesn't actively say go to Nearly Not Quite Gaming.
It's like you want me to do that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you did.
What's on the agenda today?
Today's episode we're talking about, I don't even have a name for this.
Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And various things about them.
Yeah. Nearly Not Quite Final Fantasy.
Well, it's nearly not quite Final Fantasy, it's Dragon Quest.
So yeah, today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy, which is all like... I thought you were going to
go to da-da-da, because that's what it was. I grew up in two. It's fine.
So, we're going to go through all of the Final Fantasy games and how good they were, in our opinion. You can join in with your opinions in the comments, which I'm sure you will. We'll start right at the beginning with Final Fantasy I, which, if you don't know this, because everybody says it, is that it was called Final Fantasy because it was going to be the last game that they made, because... Monies, yeah. Liam, explain Final Fantasy I.
It was the first one.
Yeah.
And the story behind it was get the crystals and save the princess.
Princess?
Yeah, Princess Sarah, I think. I've played
Sarah.
it. Sarah.
JRPG!
Well, it's probably a translation. Her name was probably different. Or, I don't know, they probably had a thing for Western names. But if we go to 2, I don't know, I never knew Firion and Minwu were Western names. But no, in the first game you don't actually have any named characters. Okay. So your choices are just job-based. Your 4 warriors of light, you just pick a job. You seriously. You don't have a name.
Final Fantasy, Job Center.
You name them yourself.
Wasn't it like Onion Boy or whatever?
Onion Knight was 3. Okay. But the main classes were like warrior, monk, red mage, white mage, black mage. I don't think blue mage was in this one.
No, it wasn't.
No, blue mage was like 3+. But blue mage was weird in how it worked. The job system was the first one with the job system, and for what it was the first Final Fantasy game. You can discredit it now because it hasn't aged well as a game, but it's still...
Well, it's not too bad, because you find that with a lot of the 8-bit games that they do age well because people like the 8-bit style. Yeah. I mean, it's early 3D games that don't age well. That's the way that it works.
Yeah, but some 8-bit games, for the whole story behind it hasn't aged well. It's literally just fetch quests until you fight Garland, and then you're done.
Yeah, but they were the first to do it.
Probably?
It's OG.
Oh, it's the first JRPG people took seriously out of all of them. Because I mean, we didn't get any Dragon Quest / Dragon Warrior games until
when was Final Fantasy 1?
1984, 86, somewhere around there.
Okay, yeah, so it does predate Zelda and whatnot.
I think Zelda was slightly before, but
I thought Zelda was 89.
Well, Zelda wasn't really an RPG when it first started. It was more of a. It was similar to what it is today.
Yeah, I guess. Just more of a top-down
do the
running
dungeons,
around.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Just get the dungeons, do the thing. Ganon.
But isn't the Final Fantasy 1 is all the good night Garland?
Garland's a dick. Garland's like, hey, I'm gonna help you guys out, and then he's like, no, actually, I'm a Belland, and then you fight him. From there on, it's just you show up, and he's just like, hi, and then at the end of the game, he's like, actually, I'm not Garland, I'm actually Chaos.
Yeah, isn't this the whole thing where it kind of introduces the whole idea of time travel and being in a separate reality? Yeah. Which, of course, is the exact same plot to Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes. Plus, the chaos in the first game, if you ever played in the Dissidia stuff, there's Chaos and Cosmos. The chaos is actually the chaos from there as well. Okay. So it's he's basically just a dimensional thing. You beat him in the first game, but... he's this entity combined with Cosmos that makes the Dissidia universe what it is. Okay, so you've got you've got Chaos and you've got Gilgamesh is the other one that can kind of go across the games. Gilgamesh is a special entity. I don't know how he does it, but it's ever since 5 he's just been in loads of different games. First in 5 you fight him on a bridge and he's like, I work for this guy, and then the guy lets him off because Gilgamesh keeps failing. And then he gets an extra bit at the end dungeon. I mean, this is 5. 5 is really good, but the end dungeon is basically he goes, actually, you guys aren't that bad, and helps you kill the hardest boss in the game. It's after end game, but Gilgamesh is still pretty cool. But obviously he doesn't die because he's in 6, he's in 8 as a summon, he's in 10 too.
He turns up.
Is he in 10?
He turns up in pretty much nearly all of them.
nearly all of them.
Yeah, it's the same guy as well. He's in every single one. It has the same Gilgamesh.
Yeah, it's the same bloke.
Because doesn't he turn up in one and mistake somebody for Squall?
No, he turns up. He's in 8, but the way he shows up is someone kills Odin. He just wants swords.
Yeah, that's basically what he does.
He's in 6 because he wants Excalibur.
He's an interdimensional
traveling guy,
sword thief.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we've kind of jumped forward a bit.
Yeah.
Let's go back. So Final Fantasy II.
I don't want to talk about 2.
Yeah, you do.
I don't. Like, it's repetitive strain through the video game.
Yeah,
like,
didn't you say that you would rather drag your face through broken glass than
10 miles of broken glass?
Yes, then play Final Fantasy II. It can't be that bad.
It's the problem I have with it is it's more Western RPG focused than Japanese RPG focused.
Okay.
It's got like the repetitive grindy stuff in Skyrim and stuff, like the whole Morrowind Elder Scrolls sort of thing, where you keep doing a thing and then eventually it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
But that just adds endless grinding on top of the levels. And it's just a thing. I don't mind it, but it's just you just get bored of it after a while. So like it's one of the games I've not completed because I got to the first guy, I can't remember his name, and then I beat the boss and was like, and now I've got to grind to beat the Sarge, can't be honest. I just left it. Like, it just wasn't for me as a game.
But isn't Final Fantasy basically just grind the game?
It is grind the game, but it's grind the game to a point. Like it's sort of similar to the Junction thing in 8, but it was quicker with 8.
Yeah.
Rather than you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over, and I didn't really like it that much.
That's fair. Now 3 was originally 6 in the English release.
Yeah, it was originally 6 and 2 was 4. Like we didn't get 2.
It wasn't in chronological. Well, they were not in chronological order anyway. But 3 was then re-released as a 3D release for the DS, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first time we got it.
Yeah. So they kind of skipped it and just kind of went. You know what? There was an 8-bit, 16-bit error version of this with the nice.
Japan.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of that chip is actually. It was kind of a really big thing. Mode 7.
That's it, Mode 7.
Mode 7. That's where a lot of kind of the whole 3D aspect came from a lot of the Final Fantasy games, because it was literally just it was a chip in the SNES which allowed you to skew images.
Yeah.
So you could make it look like you could force perspective, which was quite nice. Yeah, I mean
6.
Yeah,
6 looked great on SNES.
Oh yeah, definitely.
God, it's the best one.
You had some early 3D things going on. Now 3, I played a little bit of 3. I got to the first town and they were like, "Oh, there's a crystal," which there's always a crystal. And then it was like, "You're all orphans. You're always all orphans."
Yeah.
And then I was in the first town, and there was all these people around, and it's like, okay, oh, well, your friend's gone over there. So I went over there, went to go over there, walked into the town square, and then some goblins attacked me. And everybody was completely normal about this, that there was goblins in the middle of the town, right? Nobody cared that a goblin just turned up and tried to stab a child in the face. So I put the game down, and I have never played it since, because why? No. Like, no. I know, right, okay. There's this whole thing about suspension of disbelief, okay, where you don't have to worry about things like this because it's a video game, okay, but there's a certain level. Like, you walk into a random stranger's house, absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that.
Smash some pots.
Yeah, you just smash some stuff up, you leave. But they even addresses that in some games. Like some of them, like Final Fantasy VIII, you walk into this woman's house and she turns around and goes, "Why are you in my house? Get out!" Like, you know, they address this. I mean, even just to use 8 as another example, Laguna turns up and he's all like, "Yeah, there's monsters attacking the town, so I'm protecting the town." Nobody's protecting this town. It's a town full of orphans, and goblins are just killing them, and nobody cares.
It's not full of orphans. There's some people there. Just nobody cares. It's like you and it's Luneth and Ark, other dudes. They didn't have a name originally. I don't think they might have done, but
no, I don't think that there was really names as such in the earlier Final Fantasies. It was just like, jobs.
You were Luneth. You just beat up this weird turtle to get the first crystal. Welcome to turtles. Like, you just tend to fight turtles in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I don't understand what's with that. Like
anything with shells, like the first fight in 6 was, it's this thing with it. Oh, it's a lightning.
It's a snail. Yeah,
a lightning snail.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. And then it's turtle. You're like, okay, right, cool. And then you go get Ark, and Ark's like, "I'm scared." And then he's branded like scaredy guy for life. Like, he's just such a child.
But the town is full of murderous goblins, so completely fine to be scared.
Why not? Yeah, I don't know.
That's just a thing, that's...
Yeah, well, you defend the town from goblins, and then you get to Refia and spend 3 hours trying to get your fourth party member.
It's okay, everybody. There's goblins all over the town, but the 10-year-olds will kill them, so it's cool. It's fine, don't worry about that. Yeah, it's Pokemon. It's the Pokemon issue again, isn't it? Japanese people and throwing children at goblins. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe that's what they do. That's how they bring honour to their family. You have to go fight some goblins.
Okay, you're getting a bit racist.
It's not being racist. It's not being racist at all. See, maybe that's what they do. Nobody knows. They think all we do is drink tea and fucking praise the Queen.
Yeah, it's true. I'm pretty sure I just heard the Irish person upstairs say, that is all you do.
Oh, crumpets. We can't forget crumpets.
I've had a crumpet in ages. I really want a crumpet now.
It's really bad when you see the adverts for the big crumpets and you're just like, I just want one. I want to try one. But
big crumpets.
But the nearest shop is like...
Crumpets.
All the way across the land of Mansfield, which is a foreign place. To me.
I forgot what Final Fantasy one. That was 3.
That was 3.
Okay, so we're on to Final Fantasy 4, which is hella good. Isn't this the one with Cedric? Cecil. It started with a C. And he's originally a Dark Knight, and then he becomes a Paladin.
Yeah, he gets, better.
Yeah, and this is one that actually started using the whole idea of the Mode 7. He did start using that. You got a bit more of an interesting storyline, actual character development, rather than jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, here is this faceless thing that, well, it has a face, but here's this kind of cardboard cutout that is you. It turned into, here is a cardboard cutout that you care about because they have feelings or something.
The best version of 4 probably wasn't the first one. I think it was the re-release for DS, was pretty good.
Yeah, the re-release is great. There's the release for PSP as well, and it's also on Steam.
Yeah, with the after years as a thing.
Oh, after years.
I've not actually played that yet.
It's quite nice to kind of just revisit what happens after.
Yeah, but it's the thing is you can play it separately from 4, and you could buy that accidentally and then go, crap, I've just ruined the whole of 4 for me.
Yeah,
but no one's really going to do
it's
that.
It's like you've got Final Fantasy 4 and you've got Final Fantasy 4 the after years.
You're not really going to buy the after years.
After. It's like the word.
People have probably done it.
After is in there.
People have probably done that.
Probably.
But no, 4 was good. I liked 4.
4 was absolutely fantastic. There wasn't really anything massively quirky about it. It was kind of just I was evil, now I'm good. Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was evil.
He was
but then he kind of realised what's going on.
It's like the whole Final Fantasy IX Beatrice thing, where she's all like, I'm the most powerful person in the universe, BT dubs, and also I'm with this evil queen, but now I don't like the evil queen, so now I'm not. I should probably put a spoiler warning on the video.
The evil queen being Kuja. He's such a queen.
He?
Queen.
So Final Fantasy V. What was 5?
Parts.
I don't think I've ever
which
played
hilariously is it's called Butts in Japan. Which is great. Because if something smells, it's usually the butts. But no, 5 was really good. 5 was the one with Gilgamesh started. I can't remember the plot massively, but it's pretty much most Final Fantasies is go beat the bad guy up. I think it's X-Death. I can't remember if X-Death was the giant tree or that was a different game.
Trees.
I think X-Death was a tree, but he had armour. He was a mage originally. You have to fight him. I can't remember why. It's one of those games that they're good, but the end game is grindy, more grindy than normal. Oh, and then there's the bits. It's quite emotional as well because there's the bits with Guluf.
Okay.
Play it, it's really good.
Okay, I'll take that recommendation on board. I will.
Butts Klauser, or as he's called in Japan, Butts. Which Butts Klauser seems like closer to Butts. So it's trying to say the game's poop, but it ain't.
So Final Fantasy VI, which is your favourite.
The best one.
It is absolutely fantastic.
It's
got some really good themes. It's all like da 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 da.
The whole game. Everyone's got a theme.
This is the first one where you played as a female protagonist. You played as Terra, and then after a while, don't use her.
Use her again later on, but not like your main team. You want a mage, your choice is Celis or Terra.
And this is the whole idea of kind of magic being in the world, then not being in the world, then people finding magic and using it in machines. The whole anti-machine message is kind of strong in Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, it really is. Like even in most recent ones, it's very strong. Because airships are you were like, oh yeah, I'll use an airship. Airships are cool. But then everyone's like, no, but robots are bad, you shouldn't use them. It's like, what? But I'm using one. No, don't.
The Machina.
Yeah, the Machina, oh my god.
So yeah, that's kind of the whole idea with that. You also get one of the best kind of villains ever.
He's like he's a clown, and you know
Kefka.
He's the epitome of evil clown.
He's such a good villain that Kefka's laugh was used in
everything
ever.
Chrono Trigger, anything that said the word Squaresoft was pretty much.
It was in
Kefka's
Chrono
laugh.
Trigger, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX. I don't think it was in 8.
No, I don't think it was.
I think it was used in 10, but I'm not quite sure where.
No idea. But it's like a nice quirky thing they put in like everything because of the laugh. It's just really iconic.
Yeah. Here's a list. It's going to go up the screen probably now. When I get around to editing it, it's going up now. It's there. It's there. It's all there.
No, 6 for me had the best story, just because like your literal end game is to stop this guy who mind controlled you. You didn't know who you were. He wants to be the only guy to ever use magic ever again, but he also wants to destroy the world. And by the time you get to the end of it, he's
God.
destroyed the world.
Yeah.
He's God. And I honestly think he lets you win because he's already did what he wanted to do.
Yeah. It's you can do what you will. I've already won.
Exactly. And you can tell he's already won. As much as the world's screwed, it's not that bad. But now magic doesn't exist.
Yeah, and after the passing of magic and everybody survives, like the world starts being repopulated again and everything. So the ending, although it seems kind of meh because the world's already over, it's not. You are still actually winning.
Yeah, you sort of win, but Kefka still also wins.
Yeah,
because he got to do what he did in the end game, which was destroy the world and
become
essentially
God.
Overthrow the Imperial Army and become a god.
Final Fantasy VII, the one that everybody's played.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of the good Final Fantasies.
It's good, yeah, but it's overrated for what it is, simply because a lot of it is, all of the gameplay is padded out with minigames. Now, when I first played it, this was 1997, which is 9 years ago, so I'm 26 now, so I was 15 at the time, 14, 15? No, I was even younger than that, wasn't I?
Yeah, you would have been. So I was 5.
So I was 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't play it when I was 5. I played it when I was like 8. Give or take around there.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of years after. Basically, where I got a PlayStation kind of when it came out.
Yeah.
Because this was back when I thought that it was a soft play area because I was a child, and I was like, yeah, because it was the first console that I really played.
Yeah, gritty games.
Apart from the Mega Drive, I owned a Mega Drive, and that's pretty much the only console that I played before that. And I spent 2 years on disc 1. And then used a cheat disc to turn Tifa into Aerith, but unfortunately that then erased it from kind of the bit at the end of disc 1 where you have to talk to her to go to disc 2. So after 2 years playtime, I put it down and then just kind of didn't finish it for several years until I got old enough to kind of understand the fact that Cloud is cross-dressing right at the start and they're going into a whorehouse and all of this stuff, and you look at the game and it's like, yeah, this is a 12. Yeah, it's poorly translated. It hasn't aged well at all.
This guy all sick. Eris.
Attack when the tail's up. Which just annoys me the most. It's full of plot holes completely. They had to make other games just to fill the plot holes, but even then it has
and a film.
And a film, yeah. Oh, the film was kind of after.
It's like afterwards, but there were bits involving like.
It's like you play it.
Everything.
It's like BT Dub's Cloud isn't Cloud. Well, he is, but he thinks he's Zack. But we don't know who Zack is because he only gets kind of a rough mention from his parents.
Friendo. That's it.
And then you have to play Crisis Core to understand who Zack is, because you play as Zack, which also then gives you all of the background information on Sephiroth and all of the Sephiroth program and the Genova programs and Hojo and the other guy that created Sephiroth.
There's Hojo, I can't remember.
Oh my god.
Sephiroth's mother.
Gast.
That's it.
Professor Gast. Sephiroth's mother is in Dirge Cerberus.
Yeah, that too.
That's the thing. So you kind of find out all about the backstory in that, but it also then kind of tells you what's happening in the next one, and to have to release. And I think Final Fantasy VII, as I say, came out in 1997. Yeah. Crisis Core, I think, came out in the late noughties.
Definitely late 2000s.
Because it was on PSP.
Yeah.
So it was essentially one of the launch titles for the PSP, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So if you have to wait that long to fill some plot holes, and they kept releasing more games revolving around Final Fantasy VII, like Dirge of Cerberus. Everybody was just clamoring for a HD remake. Now we're getting the HD remake. Finally. And people are kind of upset that it's going to be split into episodes. It's not going to be the same as the original.
I really don't mind. I want it to be the same. Because if it was the same, it wouldn't, it just wouldn't feel as good.
No.
You've already played it, so what's the point
of
playing
I'm playing the same game.
You've already played again.
But it's also the fact that a lot of things wouldn't translate into HD as well.
You mean translate?
Yeah, translate. It's like when, just for bits, thinking about it, when Barrett's friend that dropped...
Begins with a D.
I can't
remember past that point.
But Barrett stood there and he's trying to ask for forgiveness because this other guy's got a gun hand as well. And he's just sat there shooting him. That wouldn't translate into HD because all that would happen is just blood. Just and he'd be dead. I also love the fact that he kind of looks... It's moved away from the whole Mr. T image, and he now looks like Wesley Snipes. He looks like Blade with a Gatling gun on his arm.
I think if they did it in the same style of Advent Children, that makes sense.
Yeah, very much so. Well, actually, no, because that's kind of later on.
But then, it was still a gun.
Oh no, because that was the whole point. That was his ultimate weapon that you get later on in the game.
Yeah,
so. Just like the fact that Cloud isn't using the Buster Sword anymore, which does really annoy me because the significance of the Buster Sword that you kind of understand after that had been passed on from Angel to Zack, then to I don't think it was passed on to Cloud. It was just kind of
I'm pretty sure he did. Because there was the bit where Zack's dying. He's all like, "Wait, Cloud, help!" And then Cloud's like. Takes his sword.
I mean, that's a spoiler, but to be honest with you, you get the fact that Zack is dead from Final Fantasy VII.
I would say Zack definitely passed it on. I wouldn't say that Cloud stole it. I'd say that he knew what he wanted to do with it.
But it was the whole thing with Angeal as well, being all like, "Yeah, you don't use this sword," and then right at the start of Final Fantasy Advent Children, you just see it in the ground rusty, and you're like,
like Cloud's found no one to pass it on to, so he just carried it with Zack.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's fine, he's made his own sword, he's got his own thing going on, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, the weird thing is in Kingdom Hearts where he's taped up the sword. So it's like, why is there tape? Why are you taping the sword?
It's got bandage on it.
Yeah, he's got bandages all over it. What is it with Japan and bandages? They just like them for some reason, or just in general, bandages.
Disney bandages. You don't need to.
It's not Disney bandages.
No, it's Disney bandages. You don't need to. Kingdom Hearts. It's Disney bandages. You don't need to care.
It's not Disney bandages.
It is. It's Disney bandages.
It's so stupid. They just bandaged up a really cool looking sword, and then when he fights Sephiroth, he doesn't do the thing he did in Advent Children, where he breaks off pieces of his sword. He's just, I'll use this one. It's got tape on it though. You're right with that. It's like the Masamune's not got tape on it. That's unfair.
Yeah, but the whole thing with Advent Children is that he's got a sword that turns into lots of swords, but he doesn't need it to be able to do Omni Slash.
Just Knights of the Round the crap out of.
Yeah.
So essentially, Knights of the Round.
He does Knights of the Round, but no, it's Omni Slash really.
It's Omni Slash, but it's sort of more of a Omni Slash with all the weapons.
Okay, we've gone on a lot about Final Fantasy VII, but that's because it tends to be one of the most overrated and talked about of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why.
There's so many Final Fantasy VII games, so
it's expansive. There's almost as many Final Fantasy games as there is Final Fantasy XIII games.
You mean there's almost Final Fantasy VII games?
Yeah.
Not just general Final Fantasy, there's three. But no, there's 3 and 3. Yeah.
You took your second.
It's exactly the same.
But yeah, so Final Fantasy VIII. Now, this is one of my underrated ones. Final Fantasy VIII is absolutely fantastic.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I have found, though, that it's so grindy because of the draw mechanic. Junction's fine. Draw mechanic. It's the fact that you need to draw your spells to be able to use them, and then you have to find a draw point to be able to use them, and to be able to beat certain things you need to have a certain spell. You have to go and find that spell, and then you have to draw it.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the problem with that for me, is they felt like they was cheating game time.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
That's what it kind of was. Now, if you play the Steam release of it, which we'll talk a bit more about the Steam releases, you get the magic boost, which is literally just gives you 99 of most of the spells. Not all of them, not the ones that will just mean that you just beat the game immediately. But I put that on to be able to play it, and to be honest with you, that was the only way that it was playable. So that's just my opinion. But you get the whole kind of... It's just... It took so less time to complete that game when I had all of those spells.
Yeah. I just draw was weird. It was such a weird mechanic, but...
Especially when you had to draw your GFs, your Guardian Forces.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
But this is the one... But Final Fantasy, it kind of took from the story the whole thing from the first one, where there's an evil that's outside of reality that you got to go and try and get to. And then it went to space, and I think it was one of the first ones that kind of brought the whole concept of the Lunar Cry in as well.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's because monsters live on the moon and they get cried onto the planet. Completely fine. Yeah, I completely...
That would make sense.
Yeah.
In a world where there's like loads of humans and then all these monsters suddenly show up.
Yeah, it's completely reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't really know where half the stuff... It doesn't explain a lot of things. Like, there is huge plot holes. It's like BT Dubs, there's a big machine at the bottom of the ocean that the sorcerer had, and that's why the Lunar Crown happened. But we also don't know where this machine really came from, and we also don't know how it was built or who built it.
But it wasn't a popular enough game to have extra games like VII.
Yeah, which is a shame. Although it's one of the first ones where they tried to have normal looking people models.
You're the best looking guy here, pixelated face.
Yeah, and they updated that in the Steam release.
Yeah,
but it's still
9.
9. I love 9.
I really like 9. I think it's one of the good ones.
Yeah, 9 has just come. They went back to the roots with the whole cartoon.
They made it simple.
People didn't really like the whole cartoony thing going from Final Fantasy VIII to that, but it went back to its roots because it was always a cartoony game. So, and the whole storyline was a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it was all full of clones and various. Goodbye microphone.
I'll just fix that. Yeah, it was all full of clones and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
it was just Clone City.
Yeah, but it's the same for every single Final Fantasy though. Is Big Evil Thing is not actually Big Evil Thing, but it's being tricked by Big Evil Thing, and that is going to destroy the world.
Yeah. Unless it's
that's every Final Fantasy game.
Bottom 6, because the Big Evil Thing, you know what it is straight away. You might think it's the Emperor, but everybody knows deep down it's Kefka. That's why it's different. But in 7, it was like, oh yeah, it's got to be Sephiroth, but it wasn't. It was, but it wasn't.
It was, because Sephiroth and Jenova. There's the whole thing where Jenova was Sephiroth for the entire game, apart from right at the end when it actually was.
It actually was Sephiroth.
Yeah, I say. Yeah.
Nice skeletal, calm down.
But yeah, and then right at the end, you're just like, oh, it's obviously Kuja that's the boss, and then you beat Kuja, and everybody was complaining about the fact that after you beat Kuja, you got to beat this random death thing.
It has a name, but I just can't remember.
It's Death Thing, that's his name.
Death Thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
But what people don't realise is the reason why that boss randomly shows up at the end is because it's actually Death, and you're beating Death so that you can go back to the world of the living, and you can resurrect everybody on the planet, because the planet's just like molten at that point.
Yep.
So, yeah. It's underrated.
It's underrated. As the story goes, but the gameplay, I liked it because it was simple. It was a simple game. You didn't have to do any draw or materia stuff.
Yeah.
Although materia was okay. It was an alright engine. It was sort of a job system, but you got to choose whichever you want in a weird way.
No, you had to level up your materia.
Yeah, but I still
and
think
also
that's
it took
fine.
stats off of you for using it. Like you lowered your health for each bit of materia you were using.
True, but it wasn't the drawback wasn't as great. It was actually quite good. If you're using all materia or quad, you're fine. Like you got it good.
Definitely. I mean, Final Fantasy IX had the auto potion mechanic as well.
Yeah.
Which you could learn, which was just absolutely fantastic. 'Cause you just stocked 99 potions, and it also if you didn't have any potions, you'd high potions. So you just had 99 high potions on you at all times, and you just like, okay, bang, okay, heal, and it didn't use your turn. So it was just like, yeah.
I mean, the only beef I have with the Steam release, but it's not that bad of a beef because people just want to play the game, is you can get max level characters at start and then just no encounters.
See, I really like that. The reason why I like that so much is because, for me, Final Fantasy games are basically visual novels. There isn't a massive amount of gameplay, realistically, other than fetch quest and battle system. And even in some visual novels, you get a battle system.
True.
So that's what it is. I mean, there's mini games thrown in.
I mean,
so many mini games.
There's mini games in.
Dolphin jump mini game.
There's so many mini games in every Final Fantasy, but it's just
But there's nothing wrong with that because you need some gameplay. You can't if Final Fantasy games were nothing but just dungeons, it would be terrible.
Yeah, it'd be Zelda.
Yeah,
but not Zelda in the way of Zelda's get an item, do a thing, but you don't have to level up. You just have to think and keep doing it.
I mean, it'd be a bit like Shin Megami Tensei, just Persona games. Yeah. It's like story battle, and that would be the entire thing.
Yeah, that's what you expect.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a JRPG and a Western RPG. Is the JRPG is literally just a huge visual novel, and you've got to try and get to different points, while the Western ones just kill everything.
You're fighting to unlock a different part, the next part of the story. It's actually a journey towards the end of the story rather than
quests.
Yeah,
side quests, which is essentially the mini games of Final Fantasy.
I mean, even if you play the mini games, you kind of get more lore, which is what you're after. You're after more of the story. It's like the reason why when you're playing a Bethesda game, you always just wander off in a random direction to find out what
Fallout 4.
Definitely, because there's the whole thing with like Skyrim, you get lore just thrown at you, but when you start playing the Fallout games, you're just like, I want to know the background of this area, but the only way to do it is for me to get through this building full of people and then find a computer, try and hack it, and then get a snippet of a conversation and then fill in the blanks.
I mean, when I play Fallout, I really don't. The story's kind of weird for me. I don't care about the excess stuff. I'm literally just in it for the experience. Like, I'll just do quest after quest after quest to try and complete the game. And then the thing that annoys me about certain quests is when it's like, oh, here you go. Here's a quest you can do continuously forever and keep going, which is why I didn't like Sanctuary. Because it's like, it does level me up, but I get like no experience. And we're going on a bit of a tangent, so probably.
Let's go back to, well, we talked about RPGs, which is kind of what we're talking about. I forgot if Final Fantasy we're at 10.
We're at 10 now. I'm not talking about 10.
Oh, 10.
Sphere Grid.
10 is my favourite.
Sphere Grid.
It's so spiritual. Yeah, but the Sphere Grid's absolutely fine when you cheat and just get 9999 Master Spheres.
That's cheating though, you don't cheat.
Boop, boop. But I will say that to do that, it actually takes you about 4 hours to fill the Advanced Sphere Grid on each character. So...
Sphere Grid.
Right, I like the story. I like the characters, apart from Tidus.
I like some of the characters.
That's a given, because ha 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 ha. I don't understand.
The voice actor has done very little since. that ruined him.
Oh wow,
it's really bad.
It wasn't the next thing he was in Final Fantasy X-2.
No, he was in yes, but also he's now Obi-Wan Kenobi for like all the Star Wars 3D cartoons. That's him.
Okay.
So every time I see him in a 3D like sort of Star Wars thing, I'm like, I can't laugh.
Well, you've got kind of. It's a very kind of spiritual thing, and it's where you kind of get the whole machines are bad. We should be very, very spiritual. But by the way, don't be spiritual because because religion is a dick.
A religion's always a dick in every.
And sin, the person that you're praying to is actually the person that's creating the thing that's destroying your world.
Is it Yevon?
Yes.
Yes, it's Yevon.
Because you go and see Yuna, which is what Yuna is named after, and then she's all like, by the way, the thing you love the most. Going to turn that into an Aeon, and then that's going to be strong enough to defeat Sin, but then after 10 years it becomes Sin. So, you know, and that's why Jecht is harboring bolts of Sin.
Jecht is... I wouldn't even say Jecht's a villain. I'd say he's just doing what he needs to do.
I think he doesn't really have control of what he's doing.
No, but I think...
Because Yevon lives inside Sin.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
But I think Jecht was just in an unfortunate circumstance. So I don't blame him.
But is Jecht real?
I don't know if Tidus is real. That's the problem.
Tidus isn't.
Exactly. So no, I think Jecht is real because the whole thing.
So maybe Tidus was real.
Maybe.
So if Tidus was real, right, and in the past, and then the faiths all kind of communed with Jekt inside Sin, and they was like, oh, my son would probably be able to do something about this. So they created his son. Auron went back into the past. But how did Auron go back in the past?
Auron doesn't exist either. He's just a figment, isn't he? He's a spirit.
He's a spirit. Yeah,
he's a spirit. He can do what he likes.
He's dead.
Spirits can time travel. Why not?
He's dead, but no, because Sin takes him back.
I don't know.
There's a universe inside Sin. Yeah. All I know is that if you pay Yojimbo 1,000 gold, he one-shots Sin. So I don't know why you even need Sin. I'll be honest with you. Yojimbo just turns up and he's like, shink, and then you're just like, okay, whatever. Be a samurai then. See if I care.
Yojimbo's good though. Like, he's the best thing about 10. I just love. I love summons in games, and Yojimbo's
he just comes up and then just goes, pay me.
Yo, you got dollar?
Pay me. Pay me.
Yeah,
you pay me?
You pay me?
You pay me?
You pay me? We're good.
We're good. I killed that. I'll just kill that. Yeah? We good? Cool. I'll pay.
Then you fight him at the end, and I always like when I finished the game, I was just really sad. Because usually it's like, oh god,
Dark Islands.
Yeah, and there's also the fact you have to, at the end of the game, get rid of all the Aeons by fighting them again.
Okay, so Final Fantasy X-2.
I prefer it to 10, and I'm probably the only person in the known universe that does.
I like Final Fantasy X too. The reason being is that it develops a bit more of Yuna.
It develops a bit more of the world.
Yeah, so it's basically what happens after Sin is gone.
Yeah. And
all of the Aeons are kind of like, screw this, and get out of here. I don't understand the dress sphere or where this came from.
I don't really know either. But
because it's like, oh, the way I change my clothes is I get the memories of some person in the past. All of these people happen to look like me. Because you got to remember that to use the dress sphere, it makes you look like that person, which is why LeBlanc
is the
evil,
the
villain. Who she starts to look like Yuna at the start of the game, and the reason why she gets that is because she's wearing a dress sphere of Yuna's. But when you give that dress sphere of Yuna's to Pain doesn't look like Yuna. So
maybe no, because LeBlanc's just like because LeBlanc, the term like in League of Legends, she's an artist, she's a mirror image.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's the name LeBlanc is basically the whole backwards
she's got
thing
this
about
really
it.
Terrible London accent, isn't she?
I think she does, and she's got two idiots like Orgo and something or other. Like the really large one, the really skinny one.
Lobos,
that's it. Lobos uses guns and Orgo's got a shield.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I think, the music was just really weird, but I don't think Nobuo did that one, so that's probably why.
Possible. Nobuo Uematsu.
Yes. Possibly the best guy. Well, one of the best for any sort
video
of
game music. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Knows exactly what he's doing.
The Yasunori Mitsuda's alright as well. He did Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross.
Final Fantasy XI. That was the online one, wasn't it?
I have not played that one.
I've never played that either.
Like, the whole concept of Final Fantasy Online felt weird to me.
Yeah, because at the time I was already into MMOs and I was already playing Warcraft. I was paying for something already, so I didn't see the point in trying another MMO. Something that was free to play would have been absolutely great. I would have gone for it. I mean, the one at the moment isn't free to play, is it?
No, but it's not. But it's not that bad. But
I've played it a few times.
The thing I had with 11 is like it was out either on Xbox 360 or PC.
Yeah.
And it was a weird one because you already had to, for Xbox, you had to already have an Xbox Live account, which was like £5 a month or $40 for the year, and then another I think it was £10 per month as well. So you're paying essentially £15 a month to play a game.
Yeah, basically.
That I've already spent money on. Like Warcraft wasn't as bad because it was like 9 or 8 back in the day, something like that.
It's still $8.99.
10, I think.
They upped it to $9.99.
Yeah, recently, yeah. But yeah, like it used to be 9, 8, something around there.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine because like the whole thing behind Warcraft was good.
Yeah.
But with Final Fantasy XI, it didn't kick off as much, and I didn't really appreciate it.
I mean, there was some fantastic stuff that came out of it. I mean, GM Dave, if you've ever read that, it's a blog called Bannable Offences, and some of the stuff he used to do was absolutely fantastic. He was a game master on Final Fantasy XI, and he used to have a dragon that he kept, and he just used to feed players to it. There was one time where some players challenged him to a fight. Then they realised that his sword, when it hits you, it deletes your character. But the last person that challenged him, he opened up that guy's inventory as a store. So players were just buying everything off of him, and he couldn't do anything. So even if he logged out, all of his stuff was still going to be gone. But there was all sorts of stuff that guy got away with. I'll have to show it you.
Oh god.
I will have to show it you. You'll enjoy it. I'll put a link in the description of this video.
I need to see that.
It's amazing. Final Fantasy XII is the one that I skipped.
I played it.
Is it good?
It's alright for what it is. It's still a Final Fantasy game because it's still got intense story and stuff. Beef with it is that you think, oh, the main character's Vaughn, but it isn't. It doesn't feel like him. It's Balthier, which is the pilot guy. And the weird thing is about it with Vaughn is it's just he wants to become a pirate for some reason because he's
Balthier the one that's got
Bunny Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cram.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole thing behind that one, it had like a weird system, but it had I can't remember what it's called. It's been so long since I played it.
It was a job system, wasn't it, basically?
Sort of, but sort of not. Like you got to pick and choose their stuff by leveling them up, sort of similar to a sphere grid sort of mechanic.
Yeah.
But everyone had the same grid, but they didn't share it.
Okay.
I think they may have done. I can't quite remember. But there's different
different sections of the same grid, and they all shared it.
Yeah, pretty much. But there was specific slots where you're like, okay, so what are there? And they were like their special abilities, and it was like the whole thing where you can do an ability but then change it with something else, you just keep upgrading them.
Okay.
And you get one choice of 3 abilities. It's basically like a summon, but it's their own special thing. But the story behind it was set in Revenant, which is Ivalice.
Yeah. Which
is the same place as Tactics and all those sort of games, which is why I played it, because I love those games. And the story behind it is Vaughn's like, I want to be a pirate, and his...
It's the whole thing that the pirates are airship pirates.
They're airship pirates.
Yeah, and they go to ruins in the sky and stuff like that.
But the idea is it's literally a story. The first start is you play as Van's brother, who gets killed by Captain Barsh, but it's not. It's a weird thing. Like you think it's Barsh, but it's just like a plot hole in itself. But Barsh kills the king, and then this other guy, and someone else takes over, and you don't know why. And then Barsh is running away because they arrested him. So you break him out of prison, and then after that you find out Rex is dead. Vaughn hates Barsh because killed his brother.
Yep.
And he eventually bumps into him after the help of Balthier, and Barsh is like, I didn't do it. I have a twin brother. And I'm sitting there going, what? Isn't
this the crocodilic guy?
No, Barsh is like he's the blonde one with like a beard.
Okay.
The crocodilic guy they're bangers, but he's not. You don't get to recruit them.
Okay.
It's weird, but it's like you sit there and go, okay, so if it was your twin brother, why didn't you just say that? And then he's like, oh, but he's like a judge. He's a big man. Judge Gabranth.
He's a big man.
He's a big man, mate.
He's a big man, mate. He's the biggest man.
He's like the head judge.
Oh, he's the head judge.
He's the head. No, he's the leader of all the judges.
Okay.
So he's Gabranth. So nobody's going to believe this army captain over the judge systems basically, and they just go around delivering justice, sweet, glorious justice.
So okay, and then Final Fantasy XII got a sequel,
Revenant Wings.
Yeah, which was I like to call Final Fantasy XII 2 Tactics.
I like to call it Final Fantasy XII. Actually, no, please put the game down. I got to the first bit and I'm like, this is not a game.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed Tactics.
It's top down.
That wasn't Tactics.
It's
that
top
just
down.
Felt bad.
You summon monsters, and then it's an RTS game.
Yeah, but it's RTS.
It's Final Fantasy RTS. I like RTS games sometimes.
I do. I play a lot of RTSs, but it just wasn't for me. I just this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right at all, and then just put it down, and then injected it, and then traded it in because it was just not for me. I just didn't like it. It's. It's just because it didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. I know that's really weird because there's so many different types of Final Fantasy games nowadays. But looking at it and just going, I can't play this. It's like 2. Where I look at it, can't play this, and just put it back and just never play it again. It's one of those games.
So we're on to Final Fantasy 13.
Final Fantasy, walk in a straight line, don't go left or right. Can go back, but don't because there's no point.
It kind of opens up after a while. I mean, the whole point of it is there's the Lassie and the Fallacy.
Yeah, that spanned across 2 different games as well. There was going to be a whole thing for the whole Lassie thing, which was going to be 13 versus 13 and Type 0.
Okay, so you get Lassie l'Cie or the Fal'Cie.
The Fal'Cie are the people that mock people as l'Cie.
Yeah, and the l'Cie have a focus, and if they don't do the focus, they turn into monsters. If they do, they turn into crystals.
Yeah.
Until they're needed again.
Yeah. They're basically screwed for life.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. But they get to use magic.
Which is a plus, but...
And they also get summons, some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
And it has the most fantastic character, which is this guy who uses guns and has an afro with a chocobo that lives in it.
Saz.
Yeah.
Saz, something.
Saz.
Sayers. The Sayers are bastard.
So,
Also, he gets a car as a summon. I didn't mind 13. Like, the story was okay.
Well, it was 13. 13 was fine. It was all like, well, we need to save the place that we live, which is cool, sure. The bad guy turned out to not be the bad guy, but the bad guy is not the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy.
The bad guy is still technically the bad guy, but it's also like.
And then they get to Pulse, which is actually just outside of the floating place.
Which was like really bad.
An evil place, but it's not. It's literally just the planet.
Yeah.
Because they all live in a place called Cocoon.
It's where the humans like fled to.
Yeah.
When all this war crap was going on.
So that's when the game finally opens up, which is
Chapter 11.
Yeah, it's like 3 discs in if you're playing it on an Xbox.
Yeah, it's the 3rd disc.
Then Final Fantasy XIII-2 was all about time travel.
Yeah.
And one of the main characters becomes a god, and
Lightning's a god, I think.
Yeah,
or
she becomes like the god of death.
Something, I don't know.
And there's this guy who keeps having to watch his girlfriend die because for all of eternity, and then he just goes yeah, and then decides he's gonna kill everything or something.
Noah, I think.
It's not. Is it Noah?
I think Noah's the one where he sees his girlfriend do a thing. Noah's the brown-haired guy. I've not actually played much of that
over and over again, and then you kind of get that whole meh. There was a really nice retrospective that they did for the release of Final Fantasy XIII-3 or Lightning Returns, where basically in the trailer it's Lightning is Batman.
Yep. You got Hope as Oracle, and
they did like a really, really nice 16-bit tribute. So they basically did Final Fantasy XIII and XIII-2 in the style of Final Fantasy VI,
which was nice. I did like
which is really nice, and they redid all of the soundtrack as a 16-bit chiptune, and it was just fantastic. They also then released some official albums, which was Final Fantasy Chips, which was just sublime.
It was good. It was beautiful, but the problem is the game wasn't good, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue.
I mean, the thing that was weird for me is that I think just so it appealed to like more people in the spectrum, they increased Lightning's breast size. They increased her breast size. I'm not even lying.
Didn't they also have it so that you could dress her up?
You could dress her up.
So you her breast size. Doesn't like a Cloud skin.
You could dress her up as Cloud, a cat. Seriously, a black mage and a white mage, which you could only get from playing the demo, I believe. Which is weird. Or was it
I thought the demo was Cloud.
No, the pre-order got you the first class soldier. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
It was a weird game. It was just fan service for Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's
pretty much. But Lightning is huge in Japan, isn't she?
Yeah,
like they use it to model like Gucci and all sorts in
because
Japan.
She's female Cloud.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, then Final Fantasy XIV is the thing, which is the online one.
It does look pretty good.
Yeah, I actually have an account on it, because it came in one of the Humble Bundles, and it's a really good game. The storyline is a bit weird, to say the least. It's kind of it's all just guilds. That's it. You just jobs.
Yeah. But it used to be really bad. Like, it used to just be terrible.
Yeah, and then they did Reborn.
Realm Reborn. They went, right, we know it was bad. Let's change it.
They did it
and
again.
then they made it good.
Yeah. So no, it is a very good game, and I am going to start picking it up again.
Probably should actually play it more.
Yeah, I mean, in the gap between here and Legion, I really need something to play.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm going to be going back onto Final Fantasy MMOs for a bit. Either that or Soul Blade.
Blade and Soul.
That's weird. The one.
The problem, this is a different thing. Blade and Soul is weird. It's battle system. It's not that great.
It's kind of weird.
It's PvP is the best thing about it, and that's it. There's no tanks or healers. It's just all damage.
Final Fantasy XV is on its way.
Yes, and I've played both the demos.
Is that any good?
I'm actually looking forward to it, which is surprising.
I heard that there's a flying car.
That's the bit that gets me annoyed. Like, I watched the trailer and right at the end, it's like, oh, Stand By Me, beautiful song, and it's by Florence the Machine. So it's a fantastic cover. And then the car takes flight, I'm just like...
Chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. Hey, oh, chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, what you do.
What? And then the guy had an interview recently, it's like, oh, that's not the final form. And I was like, oh god, the car is Freezer. And it's just, why? Why can I fly in a car? It's like, it just seems pointless to drive around for most of the game and then suddenly gain a flying attachment. I think that's the problem. I don't like that.
It's meant to be basically the ultimate guy's road trip, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a road trip.
Yeah. But the thing is with 15, I've not really seen much of it. The reason why is because I hate trailers because it spoils everything for me.
This one doesn't spoil it that much.
Still, I tend not to watch.
The flying car was kind of meh. The trailers are really good, and they bring loads, which is great. But playing through episode The Sky, which is like a section of the full game, which you got if you bought Type 0 HD, it was weird. It was hard in some points when they just threw loads of enemies at me and I had no idea what was going on in the cave and everyone kept falling down. And I was like, this is cool, I don't know what's going on. And then you get you have to fight like a behemoth, which you know is a classic Final Fantasy enemy. And it's like, oh, how do I fight behemoth? You walk up to a tree, it's like, oh, actually it's Ramu. Or Ramura, the summon, the lightning guy. And then you just, the summon was so easy because you just have to get hurt enough to put you onto your knees. Press A, you summon Ramura, you kill the guy, over. And I'm just there like, okay, so I spent 4 hours grinding to lose to Behemoth to actually win. That's the thing that, that's the only thing, but it is a very pretty game. And the Platinum demo is also a very pretty demo, but it doesn't really do much. You get to fight like one thing and dance about.
Square Enix does have a whole thing about their games being pretty, though.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIII visually was just...
very pretty.
Amazing. Like the opening scene of Final Fantasy XIII, it was just like,
yeah.
The music
even
comes
the
in.
remake trailer of Final Fantasy VII, and it's not even that much for it.
Yeah, we've not seen massive
amounts
of it.
just beautiful.
Apart from Wedge's voice.
You care about the planet, don't you, Cloud?
It's literally just, here's some good voice actors. This is the voice actors from Revenant Children, though. So, you know, they've gone probably to the same company and just said, get us some people. And they've made... And every time I hear Wedge's voice, I just sit there and think, yeah, I'm glad he dies. Like,
wow!
You don't know, because you hear him like once or twice throughout the game. And that, I don't mind, like... It's the fact, it's just... In most games where that involves like a larger gentleman, they always sound really bad. Or really comic-y. And it's just like, oh, come on. We don't all sound like that.
God.
Yeah, God, come on.
But there has been a Biggs and Wedge in every single game.
Apart from the first one, I think. I don't think that they were put in there, but they weren't in there originally. Same with, no, it was Sid.
Sid's been in basically every single one.
Biggs and Wedge have been in all of them, but the Final Fantasy VI translation was the best because it was Vix and Wedge. Translations. You know, Vix, that thing you put up your nose.
You're not meant to put it up
I know. I'm just saying you put it up your nose. People don't know what I mean.
There's, Biggs and Wedge.
Talking about nose, I've got really itchy.
Biggs and Wedge, absolutely iconic characters. And Sid's been in every single one.
Yes, Sid has been in every one.
Like in 7, main character. In 8, headmaster of the school, who turns out to be Robin Williams. 9 is the king.
Yep.
In 10, he is Yuna's uncle.
Riku's father.
In 11, I don't know because that's
he's
the
an NPC.
In we could
12,
just guess at that.
He's Balthia's dad. 13, it's one of the shops. It's the mention in there.
Yeah, but yeah,
there's also Biggs and Wedge also has a mention. B&W Outfitters is Biggs and Wedge Outfitters.
Because Biggs and Wedge, like in 7, Biggs and Wedge is there too.
They're sort of like, I guess, party members for a bit.
Yeah,
but
I feel bad for Jessie.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for Jessie. And then she's all like, "You came," and then she goes, "Yeah," and you're like, I felt more sad about Jessie dying than I felt sad about Aerith dying.
The problem with Aerith dying is like if you didn't experience it before it was spoiled, then There's no point.
Oh, I had no idea the first time that I saw it.
Good.
That was the first time I saw it, and
Well,
I was just like, and then Genova Death turns up, and then you're just like crying actual manly tears, and you're just like, oh wow, how dare you? And then I pressed X, and at level 10, Cloud randomly did a 9999 hit, and then killed and then one shot, and I was just like, it felt my emotion.
Sure.
I put my heart and soul into pressing X, and that one attack is circling that game, but whatever.
Filled you with determination. But
oh, such under trash.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like there's so many things in games that just can spoil a moment.
Yeah.
And it's like at school, the guy I borrowed the game off was like, "Oh yeah, Aerith dies." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Bedland." So I'm just sitting there like, "Oh, cheers, guy, thanks." And it wasn't great, but you know, I wasn't really like thingy. I think that's the problem. Like, people are like, "Oh, but Aerith's death was the worst death of Final Fantasy." It's like, well, no, because it was mainly spoiled for everyone. Because you're like 7, and you're like, you know, you're a mischievous butt when you're 7, and you're just there like, "Hey, I'll tell all my friends," and then they end up hating you. Yeah, like this sort of voice inside your mind saying, I'm going to ruin everything for someone. And unfortunately, it was my friend Sean for me.
Never forgive.
Never forgave.
Never
Don't even talk to him anymore.
Never forget, Sean, if you're watching, he's gonna get you.
I'm gonna get him. Like, I didn't really mind at the end of the day.
He's gonna get you.
You can get him if you like.
Gonna get you.
I can't remember where he lives, but I think he may have adventured
Absconded.
on after university. He's gone on adventures.
Adventures. Conclusion. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 had no characters.
They did, but they weren't necessarily something I would say was good.
Final Fantasy 3 had goblins in safe areas and nobody cared. Final Fantasy 4 had
redemption. It was all about redemption, essentially.
Final Fantasy 5
was not about redemption. It was literally just like killing a guy. It was essentially fighting like
kill the guy.
Final
Fantasy 6 was all about how magic is good, but also we should get rid of magic. Final Fantasy VII was all how about machines are bad, and also we should use coal. So that's what it's about. Haven't children where he's all like, find some oil. Yeah, Barrett. Final Fantasy VIII is all about overcoming depression.
True.
Final Fantasy IX is
having the best darn time while also being like fighting evil things, like just having fun.
Yeah, it's all about
essentially
having fun.
Fighting death.
It's basically all about not fearing death, because seasons don't fear the Reaper, neither do the Sun or the Rain.
It's true.
Sun or the Rain. Final Fantasy X is all about how machines are bad and magic is, machines are bad, religion is good, but BT dubs religion is bad, but machines are good. That's Final Fantasy.
And then you get to 10 too, where machines are bad and religion's actually okay, because like, I don't know, they just double back on themselves, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fight this big robot guy.
Final Fantasy XI is an MMORPG that we don't really know anything about.
No.
Final Fantasy XII is Jobs the game, also Big Shiny Man.
It's not Jobs the game. It's more or less just. It's meant. If I were to word it, I would say an MMORPG.
Air Pirates.
Without the MMO.
Air Pirates.
Yes, and also an MMORPG without the MMO, because you just play by yourself.
Final Fantasy XIII is all about
walking in a straight line to get to your destination and not really grinding.
That. And story-wise, it's all about. Well, the first one is all about revealing the truth.
True.
The second one is all about
finding more truth,
protecting the universe.
True.
And the third one is all about making sure that the world ends.
Being Batman.
Final Fantasy XIV is a really nice MMO, which at one point I will definitely play more of. And
15 so far flying cars.
Yeah. Which is the Pro Trip.
It's basically like Back to the Future.
It's Back to the Future.
No, but literally you've got to go back. Like you have to go to you start in your place. You've got to go to where your girlfriend is, marry her, return back to your house where you live to take your phone back. It's literally we've got to go back.
Back where, dog?
Back to the future, Marty.
It's not Morty though. I can't remember his name. He's an edgelord. Oh.
Edgelord.
He's such an edgelord. You look at him and go, "Oh, it's just Sasuke. Cool." Like, that's what he looks like. Noctis, that's it. He's even got a name like an edgelord.
So that was Final Fantasy games. You all know who I am. I was Rob. That's CipherTH and the streamy things. You should go watch him sometimes after 6 until late on some days. Which days?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I also stream on Saturdays for 3 hours.
Those days. So if you go watch him, he'll be playing some RPGs. Have you just finished Valkyria Chronicles?
Still playing it, but I'm probably going to stop for a bit. It's
getting to you.
It's not getting to you. Yeah, everyone's crap.
I'm going to carry on with Pandemonium, and I've got the Adventures of Pip to look forward to. We're probably going to make another video. Yeah, it's great. I have actually already recorded the first part, but it didn't record any of the game sounds. So get ready for some YouTube non-copyright sounds in the background of that. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see something more like this. If you really did just sit through 40 minutes of me and Liam talking about Final Fantasy games, then good on you. Yeah, you're my new favourite guy.
Or girl. Guy or girl? Grill. You're either a guy or a George Foreman, according to the internet. Hot grill.
I actually identify it as an attack helicopter.
Oh my god! The worst part is someone else called Rob used that on me as well. It's like, what is this?
Okay, so like, comment, subscribe. We out. Peace!